So if you set up config like that, you will see that it will be like just like aimbot and Sugargoo. But we are legit cheating faces or other platform. It's crazy, right? Let's start it.
This is KMBox for aimbot. This is Arduino also for aimbot. This is Fuser for ESP wallhack. This is DMA for cheating in the games. So in this video, I'm going to explain and show you how DMA works and cheating in the games, what DMA hardware and firmware do, and what hardware and firmware should to buy and don't buy. This is a very long video because I explain everything about DMA very carefully. If you've never cheated with DMA hardware before, then I highly recommend you watch this video. You'll thank me for it. The first point I'm going to explain is, how does the DMA work? What are the minimum requirements for using DMA to cheat? So first of all, you want to start gaming with DMA cheat. You will need a DMA card for reading game memory, 2 PCs, gaming PC and radar PC, the 1 PC playing normal game, and the 2 PC running cheat software. KMBox B Pro and KMBox Net, or Arduino R3. They are both working for aimbot functionality. And the Fuser. This is the most important ESP feature. It can let DMA ESP boxes on a single monitor. To achieve classic visuals, you need to use Fuser, which combines the output from 2 computers into one, providing you with classic visuals on a single screen. I almost forgot to mention one of the most important things in DMA cheat. It's this, firmware. It working on the DMA card to mask the DMA device from anti-cheat systems. It allows you to cheat in-game more safely without getting banned, so firmware is the most important part of DMA cheating. Now, I'm sure you know a little bit about DMA cheats, so if you still want to start DMA cheating, then you need, first, a DMA card, it for reading computer memory. Let both hardware and firmware and cheat software work. The second is the KMBox, or Arduino, which connects the USB ports of 2 computers, allowing your mouse and keyboard to travel freely between your 2 computers to achieve the effect of aimbot. And the third one is the Fuser, for ESP, and the most importantly, the safest firmware. Now I also have a couple pictures to explain how the DMA cheating hardware works, and you can check it out in detail. After you've finished looking at how DMA works, I'm going to start with how to buy cheap DMA hardware and firmware and keep it safe from anti-cheats. The one is the DMA hardware options. Currently in the market, there are a lot of DMA brand cards to choose, such as Captain DMA, MVP DMA, Leet DMA, Hack DMA, Starks DMA. Of course, we have our own brand, David DMA. There are too many DMA cards on the market, but they are all the same. They only have one function, is just to read the memory of another computer through the USB cable connection. As far as DMA cards are concerned, there is only one difference between them, which is the difference between a 35T chip and a 75T chip. This will depend on whether the firmware you buy supports DMA cards to work or not. If you buy a 35T DMA firmware from a distributor and try to get it to work on a 75T DMA, then it's just not possible. Same thing with the 35T. If you buy the firmware for the 75T and flash it into the 35T's DMA card, it won't work either. Now the question coming.
David, I don't know anything. Which DMA card should I shop for better? I've heard that the 75T DMA card is more secure.
In fact, all DMA cards are the same. You just need to choose 35T or 75T DMA card. They are not different, because they all serve the same purpose. If you want your DMA card to cheat in all the games on the market, then I recommend you to choose 35T DMA card, because very many developers use 35T chip to develop and make firmware, such as, for example, the very famous EKK, which made a lot of 35T DMA free firmware. And you can even buy 35T DMA cards with security firmware in some shopping sites, because 35T is a milestone in the history of DMA. Of course, I'm not saying that the 75T DMA card is bad. It's just that it compares to the 35T, so few people use that chip, because I am the DMA hardware practitioner, so I know the chip cost difference between the 75T DMA card and the 35T DMA card. They can even be priced the same, so you just need to choose the model that best fits your needs to buy. There is no such thing as which hardware is safer. There is no such thing as which hardware is more secure. This is a dealer's way of saying that in the case to scam out of your money. Now the problem is,
David, where can I purchase these DMA cards? Can you tell me? I don't want to get scammed.
actually you can know how to buy DMA in many places, like eBay, Amazon, AliExpress, etc. This is the shopping site that some buyers from Europe and the United States will choose. And as we all know, all the DMA hardware in the world comes from Chinese factories. So you must be more interested in what websites the Chinese use to buy their DMA hardware. Chinese DMA users usually will use Taobao platform to buy their DMA hardware because it's very cheap. Here are the prices of DMA hardware products from Taobao. For less than $100 a DMA card, it's a great deal. And we also have our own Taobao store. Our DMA card is only $92, and you can request a refund within 7 days of receipt if you are not satisfied with the goods. Now here's the problem again.
Sorry, David, but I'm not in China. What if I want to use Taobao platform to buy cheap DMA hardware to cheating? Can it be delivered to my house door?
Yes, sure, if you are not in China, you can also use some of Taobao's overseas agent shopping platforms. For example, international students, or people living, working in other countries, or even citizens of other countries, all can use. I'm not sure about other Taobao overseas shopping sites, but the one I'm currently using for my overseas customers in my Discord server is Sugargoo, which has never lost a parcel and can work fine. Now that you have a general idea of what the differences are between DMA 35T cards and 75T card, now let me show you how to properly install your DMA card into your computer. Now my father will show you how to install the DMA card.
Warning: before installing the DMA hardware, please make sure that both of your computers are turned off and unplugged. Otherwise, your DMA card will be damaged, and there is no way to repair it, which means that your DMA becomes a piece of junk PDB. Now you're looking at my main PC case. My main PC case doesn't install GPU because this is a tutorial video. This is to show you more clearly the status of the PCIe ports on my computer. Now my screwdriver is pointing in the direction of the PCIe with 16 port. The PCIe 16 port is supposed to be for the graphics card, but of course it can also be used for DMA card to plug in. Here are two small PCIe interfaces that also work for DMA. Now let's properly install the DMA card to main PC. This is a 75T DMA card, but please remember, the 35T and 75T DMA cards, setup and installation, are all the same. There are two USB connections here, one for flashing in firmware, the another one for cheating mode. Data for cheating. This port you normally use for all days in cheating games, because it is used to read the data memory of another PC, and this is the JTAG port. In some DMA brand they call it update port, but that's okay. It means one thing. Now that you know the general meaning of the two ports, let's install the DMA card first. I plugged it into the PCIe slot of my GPU card. If you can't plug into, then odds are you're not strong enough. Remember to push, son, like your father hit you. Once installed, locate the screws that come with the DMA card. If you like to keep the DMA card plugged into your motherboard all times, you need to tighten the screws. Otherwise, your DMA card will come loose very easily, and it may cause your ESP to not work. So be careful, son. Now I'm going to unplug the DMA card from the GPU slot and plug it into another PCIe slot. Remember, all PCIe slots work for DMA. Now that you know how to connect your DMA card to your computer, you need to set up and install your DMA card in your Radar PC.
All right, now I'm back, guys. If you want to set up your Radar PC, you can check out this video of mine channel, which describes the Radar PC setup process in detail. Now I'm get to the rest of the DMA hardware. Now I'm going to introduce you to the ESP function of DMA Cheat and show you why Fusion is so important for DMA. If you don't have a Fusion, then your cheating effect will look like this. There are no ESP in your main PC. It synchronizes the ESP in your Radar PC by streaming the screen with cheat software. I highly don't recommend this cheap cheat way, as it will leave cheating software traces on your main PC. Since you're already spending hundreds of dollars on DMA hardware cheat, why don't you spend less than $100 on a Fusion to keep you safer? That's why I despise this kind of DMA players. They will just keep getting banned. Now I'm going to show you what happens to your main PC monitor when you bought a Fuser. As you can see, the ESP effect in your main PC. Once you use the Fusion, you'll find that it doesn't leave a mark on your main PC, because you have an extra piece of hardware that doesn't need software to support it to be working. It will be more safety. Now let's move on to the Fuser difference introduces. As you can see, there has 3 different colors of Fusions. They are all the same. Don't worry what different with them, baby. You just need to remember, all Fusion is the same. Unless it supports 4K resolution, then it's the 4K Fuser. Here are the supported monitor resolutions for all Fusion devices except 4K Fusion devices. Keep it in mind because you'll thank me for it. First of all, it supports 144 Hz refresh rate at 2K resolution and also 244 Hz refresh rate at 1K resolution. So that's mean basic Fuser. Supports all resolutions and refresh rates up to 2K resolution 120 Hz. Now, let me introduce you to a few brands of Fusion that have appeared on the market. First of all, the first brand, which is also well known and used by the largest number of DMA players around the world, Dchen. Dchen branded Fusions has different colors, which mean as though they don't have any substantial differences. So just buy the cheap one will be better. The one remaining brand, a fusion of Captains. They are also same with Dchen. The supported resolutions are no different. The downside is that they have the most fake products in the world. You can see it every day in Captain's Discord server. Tom is suing distributors who steal their branded content every day. It looks like drama, but it's actually because cheap DMA products hurt them. And when people realize that all DMA hardware is the same, then there's no way for them to continue making money. In fact, a Fusion unit costs less than $100, and you can easily buy it in David's Taobao store or Sugargoo. If you are interested in how to set up and connect your DMA Fusion cable, watch this video, then you will fix by yourself. If you still can't connect your Fuser, just join our Discord server. Now, I'd like to introduce you to KMBox hardware. So first we all know the KMBox using for the mouse and keyboard to control 2 pieces aimbot effects. And of course, you can also control the aimbot with commands from the keyboard. Now let me tell you what different between KMBox B Pro and KMBox Net. You can see in the screen middle video, I have KMBox Net and KMBox B Pro. Actually, they are working same way. The only difference is that the Net as a network device will be camouflaged through the network cable, making it more stealthy. The B Pro is hidden by a cable that connects to the computer and is displayed directly as a control device. I would actually recommend buying a KMBox Net over both, because it's more secure. I've been using a Net device for over 2 years now and have never had to update my firmware. It's always been well hidden. They all connect in the same way. You just need to plug in 2 USB cables. If you're interested in how to connect a KMBox, you can check out this video on my channel. Now I'm going to talk about the most important thing in DMA cheats, the firmware. I can responsibly tell you that 99% of the DMA firmware you purchase is a scam. The point 1, they are actually nonsense terminology and ignorance of the facts.
Let's establish a baseline here. Emulated, private slotted firmware, 1-to-1, 1-to-4, pooled, custom only you. half emu, full emu are all lies. I'm not sure how changing the terms made people forget that in terms of software, this is equivalent to Private Loader Unique Polymorphic Generation AES. 256 encryption undetectable, external ring 0 USB drive required. But being listed on a public media, some people have decided to take out loans to buy something that will ultimately leave them unsatisfied. For some reason, people want to blow thousands on something that gets them blocked, or worse, banned in 1 to 2 months. A block isn't a win. The block is still logged by Riot for occurring, and all you've done is put yourself on a timer that can end at any moment. On the flip side to this, you have firmware sellers who have multiple firmwares and get beamed on a few versions, safe on others, then say they've been fully UD for X amount of time, completely ignoring the issues that occurred. I haven't seen one firmware seller that doesn't downplay bans or blocks. It's always, yes, we're UD 10 months, sir. Again, if everything is private, 1-to-1, why does it always get fucked at the same time? All the time. There is a reason these sellers have a limited warranty, fix fee, or both on these firmwares, because they do not last. When was the last time you bought a cheat with a fucking limited warranty on it?
Point number 2, dropshipping is back, baby.
To top all of this off, these sellers are straight up dropshipping via Taobao for 2 to 5 times the price. Some sellers will whine and say, beep, but sir, that is knockoff. No, it isn't. Even on the chance it is, if you inspect the PCB, it's the only thing that is truly 1-to-1 in this whole thread. Some of these sellers have established a line of communication to the reps that sell these FPGA cards, and still they choose to charge you 2 to 5 times the price of what you can purchase it for elsewhere because you are a sucker. You can buy off Taobao from Taobao or Sugargoo yourself.
For those of you who spent more than $100 on a DMA card, I'm not saying you're stupid, just that you're getting your money taken away from you by shady agents who deserve it and who don't offer support services for it. Point number 4, do any of these sellers actually know how anti-cheats detect DMA?
No, they don't. As what I'm saying in the DMA card part, all of these sellers regurgitate the same information. Timing checks. AC can't tell difference between fake device. We are 1-to-1 copy of real device. Have you tried to view the actual configuration space of a FPGA? It isn't 1-to-1 of the actual device you're copying from. All you're doing is confusing the anti-cheat temporarily, not to ban you because it doesn't want to make a false ban. 100% of public anti-cheat firmwares are utilizing illegal CFG, which just breaks Riot's dump on the device. To which I'll add, your full MU doesn't fucking matter if the device is configured with junk values code to break an anti-cheat scan. I can guarantee you none of these full-time firmware sellers have ever attempted to check on how anti-cheat detects DMA, because they can't. All of these firmware sellers are spending their days shotgunning firmwares at the anti-cheat to see what isn't banned or blocked. They don't have it reversed in the slightest. For the love of God, save your money. If you want to cheat with DMA, go to buy a cheap DMA card or go buy a card off Taobao instead of giving it to dropshippers who don't deserve an ounce of anyone's respect. On top of that, go use Eknod's free firmware that has survived more ban waves than most sellers on EAC. Some of these sellers don't even attempt to hide the fact that they've made shell accounts purely to rug pull once shit really hits the fan. There are accounts that are only a few months old selling products for thousands of dollars. How could that possibly go wrong? Once they encounter true skill issue, the game is up. Some of my favorite moments in DMA community from some DMA sellers in the past year. Having sellers say 35T is fully dead and 75T is now required to play. Buy new cards are very safe. You please try only 500 USD. Every seller having private firmware that has been UD for 4+ years. Anyway, welcome, join DMA community. Here is full of scammers.